you could have gone for bigger positions because you could have, but you chose to go to the lowest. We could say the very, very lowest. So what was inspiring you to do that? What made you make that decision of, I'm not going to go for an MPship, I'm not going to go for any other thing, I'm going down to the village level?
The Nigerians have a proverb, it's an African proverb, that however far a man urinates, the last drop falls at his feet.
At his feet.
So you may zoom, but the last one here.
At your feet.
So we come back to these villages every day. You may come here and work, go to London, go to Johannesburg, wherever. But when all is said and done, you'll go back home. And it's important that you take that village seriously. When they invite you for village meetings, please show up.
From investigating power to exercising power, why would an award-winning journalist decide to run for a position of LC1? This is Justin K. Safari, and this is the Policy Digest. For years, the guest that I have in studio today has built his career asking the difficult questions. As an investigative journalist, he has exposed stories of public interest. He has held people in positions of power to account and has built a reputation around journalism that goes beyond simply asking what happened. He has worked with one of Uganda's biggest newsrooms, the BBC, and in 2019, he became the recipient of the BBC Komla Dumor Award. Today, however, the questions are slightly different. Because the journalist is no longer observing the politics. He has stepped directly into them.
Thanks, Justin, for having me here. I'm really excited to be here.
All right. So before we start, to someone who maybe would like to know more of who you are, who is Solomon Serwanjja, to more that maybe we may not know about you, that you would want us to know.
What can I say? I think I am... I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a journalist, I'm an investigative journalist.
Yes.
I work with the African Institute for Investigative Journalism, and I have been doing journalism for about 15 years now. And I think I've majored in investigative journalism, done some very interesting stories that have landed me in trouble, but that have also been very impactful.
Yes.
I've worked in different media houses, but I have really specialized in television. Of course, I did print, I did radio, but I found my strength in television, broadcast. And yeah, for now, I am also finalizing my PhD. So I should be out in October.
We had a doctor.
Yeah, and my PhD is in media studies, journalism and communication from the Uganda Christian University. So we are counting down. Yeah, that's simply about me.
All right. Thank you very much. So with all that, why join politics now? Why not maybe the previous term? Why this term itself?
No, I think that in the fullness of time, Christ came. There is that scripture. So I'm a believer. So it takes years, but when time comes, you just have to. I have understood and mastered the concept of time. I remember all throughout my career, there's come a time where I just jump. And sometimes I just jump into the unknown. I don't have to be 100% sure of where I'm going, but when that time comes for me to jump, I jump. And I have not made that mistake of jumping and everything has gone wrong. Somehow
something goes right.
Something goes right. I remember when I was leaving UBC for NTV, I just jumped. I just left. I remember when I told my boss then when I was leaving NTV that I'm leaving. And, at the time, I was one of those, big names on TV. I was working at NTV, then I was like, I'm leaving. And I jumped. And I went to NBS. I wasn't sure what would happen, but I jumped. I felt like it was time for me. When that time came for me to leave, and I jumped again, did some work at the BBC, and I jumped again. Started the African Institute for Investigative Journalism, which really has done amazingly well in terms of training journalists across the country. I think we've trained over 1,000 journalists across Africa. We've done some really great investigative work in collaboration with partners and different reporters across Africa. We've asked the hard questions, the show that I host, and I still do those things, except that now I felt like all the years of experience and expertise that I've gained over the last 15 years of my life and the networks and connections would be very important to come back and share them with my community, my village where I come from. And what a better way to do that than to go for elective politics at the village level, the lowest of the value chain.
Yes,
so,
on that, you could have gone for bigger positions because you could have, but you chose to go to the lowest, we could say the very, very lowest. So what was inspiring you to do that? What made you make that decision of, I'm not going to go for an MPship, I'm not going to go for any other thing, I'm going down to the village level?
So first of all, we all come from villages.
Yes.
So, but most of us don't take our villages seriously because we leave at 5 a.m. and go back home at 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. and we sleep and the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. again and we leave. So we've turned our villages into some sort of dash in, dash out, and we're not in touch with the reality. And they call for village meetings on Saturday. I don't know if you've ever attended any village meeting. Have you?
No.
You don't even know the chairperson's name, the LC chairman for your village.
The one in Kampala or the one
your
home
village,
home?
where you stay. No.
But for whom I do, yes.
But you're staying in this village here.
So...
Do you know the defense secretary of your village? No. And that goes to speak about how elites have not really valued their villages, and they think, we don't care about the villages anymore. Like, yes, we stay here, but we don't care about what's happening. And that there is a problem. That all of us as a people have to be very, very concerned about where we stay and our neighbors, right? Neighborhood watch. We just wait for the time when you're attacked. When thieves come, then you remember some of you even don't have your neighbors' numbers, but you don't even have that contact. And you're so disassociated from the village that you just come to sleep and get out. And so I felt like it was time, for me to understand my village better and to serve it. But most importantly, I wanted to demystify that the head of our villages or the presidents of our villages, those positions of local council 1, local council 2, defense secretaries and, finance, and should be left to, the uneducated, the unexperienced, the, drunkards, those that, can barely write or even speak English. And that's what the community or the society has actually come to tell us.
So do you think Ugandans underestimate?
Yeah, there's a general
position.
feeling that the people who should occupy those positions should actually be those who are lowest in our societies. And that there is the problem, that we've devalued the LC system, which actually has the most impact in our communities, to be occupied by the people we think are less important in our societies. And that really reflects our villages. Because if you leave your village to a drunkard, to a person who doesn't know how to write and read, or to someone who doesn't have any skill set, your village will reflect exactly that. I think that villages rise and fall with leadership. And if we have bad leaders at village level, then we don't expect the village to make progress. And if we have good leaders, my bid for the LC system is to provide proof that when we have the right leaders at local government level, at the village level, our villages can be transformed and we can transform the nation in a long run. I'll give you a classic example. Look, everything that is budgeted for in the country ends up at the village.
Yes.
The biggest expenditure, one of the biggest expenditures in our budgets is the parish development model. And this is really simply put, to remove all the jargons, is to give people at village level some money, about 1 million shillings, that they can use to better their income and increase on their household income. Now, this money is budgeted for. The Ministry of Finance gets that money through URA, and that money comes to the district. When it comes to the district, that money goes to the sub-county. When it comes to the sub-county, it gets to the parish, and eventually it ends up at the village level. Now, because we have put leaders that are not competent enough to follow government programs, in some villages, they don't care to follow up on government programs, including PDM. So what then happens is that money gets lost along the way. It gets lost at parish level, or it even gets lost at the village level. You've had the president going to different villages and he's asking, have you received the PDM money? You've seen those clips.
Yes.
And many of them are saying, nedamzei. Or someone are saying, yes, we did. We had to pay 60,000 for forms. So there are all those things that happen at the village level that can be caught when we have able leadership at the village level.
Right.
So if we don't do that, we think that if we really fail to catch corruption or embezzlement of public funds at village level, we think we'll catch it at national level. I want to disagree. That when we have a strong LC1 chairperson who follows up the services and government programs up to the level of the parish, and we have an LC2 who follows up, because an LC2 is the head of the parish,
yes,
who follows up money at the sub-county level. Then we have an LC3 who follows up services at the district level. With the LC5, we can be able to ensure that this money or the resources or the services come down to the last mile, which is my village. So it's important that if we are going to change a nation, we have to change the nation a village at a time, so that we put able leaders at LC1 level to follow up on government programs, to monitor our hospitals and our healthcare centers, so that we are able to improve the lives of the people we serve.
All right. So you've talked about having able leaders at the lowest level. So how are you going to make sure in your leadership, how are you going to make sure that you're able to curb the corruption at the LC1 or village level? And how will your leadership be different, that if your term ends and the people of your village are able to say that Solomon's leadership was so impactful, it changed how our village standards of living were, or anything? How would you want them to look at your leadership past your tenure? Or what do you plan on doing that is going to be different from all the previous LC ones that have been there?
Look, I have managed organizations. Over the last couple of years, 15 years, I've gotten experience in project management, in resource mobilization, in lobbying, in public administration, in financial management. And I think it's those very concepts that make a successful leader that are required at local government level. You see, the core of managing any business or any organization is setting up systems that work, whether you are around or not. So the first thing for us to get the services that the people want, or the benefits that the people are looking for, is to go back to the basics, set up systems that work at the village level. Now, what does the word systems mean? It means that, for example, what we're going to do, we have so far done, and we have started doing this. The first thing that we did since we came in office was to do a village census.
Of your village?
Of my village. So we have to know how many people are in the village. We designed a questionnaire. We collected data, household data, to understand who is the head of the family, how many people stay in this household, what are the economic activities. And we came up with all these questions. I'm happy to tell you that we concluded that census last week. We're now inputting this data into Excel, and we're able to triangulate, this information and data to help us understand the village better. But it is also important for us to know how many people are we planning for, right?
Yeah.
So we are happy right now. We concluded the village census.
The people that are in your village.
Yes, we know the people who are in our villages. The next thing that we're doing on Wednesday, we are going for the village strategic plan retreat for 3 days. So I'm taking my 11-member committee to Nagalale Country House, and I want to thank Professor Mulumba, who is one of the residents who agreed to support us with this. We're going to spend 3 days thinking for the village. We are going to do a 5-year strategic plan for the village. And then we will bring it down to annual work plans. And then those annual work plans will support us to know what are we doing in quarter 1, what are we doing in quarter 2, what are we doing in quarter 3. Once we've done that, we're going to do annual budgets. How much money will it require us to do the things that we've put into our work plan? When we have done that, then we will look at resource mobilization strategies on how we can raise the money that is going to support us at our support our budget, so that we can implement our work plan and be in line with our strategic plan. Now, I have asked each of the members of the committee to go and do their individual budgets and activity plans.
For their different sectors.
Yes. For example, we have the Nabachala, or the head of women affairs at the village. As I speak right now, they are in a village meeting with Abachala Bokuchalo, the women in the village, and they're looking at their priorities for the next 5 years. As I speak right now, the youth, Abavubuka, they are seated and thinking of, this is what we want to do over the next 5 years. So individually, when we go for this retreat, each of the people will present their activities and what they want to do. And then we will kick out some, we will allow some, we will, push and pull. But by the end of the 3 days, we will have a strategic plan which is going to shape how the village is going to be run over the next 5 years, but particularly looking at annual work plans. Yeah. I am happy that when we came up with this thing, I got a call from someone from UNICEF. And because I've been all over the media talking about how I want to run this village, someone just offered and said, well, I'm coming. I'm the head of strategy, but I'm coming. I'm coming to support you, to facilitate your strategic plan so that you understand it for free. So once we've done those things, when we come back to the village, we are going to present this strategic plan to the village to adopt it. Once it is adopted, then we'll have a blueprint of what we are going to do, and our focus will be on implementing that blueprint.
On implementation, do you think you're going to find constraints in financing?
Yeah. So of course, I mean, money, we are doing a budget, but you see the beauty with having the things I've told you, the order attracts resources. Order attracts resources. Money fears disorganized people. It runs away, Yeah, but when you put up systems at work, and I forgot to tell you, so when we come back, we're going to have a village meeting, and we're going to do a resolution to open up a village bank account where all the resources collected on the village goes to that village account. And we will then do direct transactions from the village account to the different service providers who are going to be supporting the implementation of the work plan. So once that is ready, then we are going to resource mobilize. And we are looking at about 5 sources of revenue to support us to implement our work plan. The first thing is Bamutakudde as a village has stone quarrying companies. This is, a village that has been ravaged by the people who are doing stone quarrying. So we are going to make sure that we resource mobilize from the people. So we want to get money from those companies. When we get that money from those companies, and they've been contributing, because every time they blast those rocks, they pay the village 2 million shillings. And there are 3 companies. So on average, you're looking at about 6 million shillings per blast, and they blast 2 times a month. So you're looking at about 12 million shillings as the starting base per month. Think about if that money is put to good use. The previous chairman has been, it's like it has been his money. Now, if we get that money as a baseline that every month we are sure that the village account will have 12 million shillings, we will start from somewhere. But second, and I have sold to my committee that I want us to do 2 companies, village companies, registered in the village company name. We want to do Bamutakudde catering services. Now, during my tenure as the LC1 chairperson, I really want to appreciate the previous regime that has been in power at the LC level. They bought some plates, some cups, some saucepans for communal villages. I want to take it a notch higher. We will allocate money every month to procure more things. For example, we'll procure better plates, maybe glasses. Maybe now we'll buy serving dishes. We will professionalize it a little bit. We'll buy a uniform for the women. We will train women in real professional catering services, so that should there be an event on the village, people who need catering services, instead of this money getting out of the village to go into another economy of another village, it would be better that we retain that money by serving people. I always have events at my home, but I get companies out of the village. Instead of using your actual people in the village. But because they're not there. So if we just organize them very well, then we get these ladies and we bring top-notch chefs who know how to cook. And teach them. And we bring those who know the business of catering to teach them how do you do that. And we get a marketer on the village. This village, Bamutakudde, is surrounded by about 13 villages in Dundu parish itself. So if we position this catering service to provide catering services for all the 13 villages surrounding Bamutakudde village, we'll be able to cash in the money from those different events, whether it's burial or it's parties or celebrations. So we want to do a catering company and we run it professionally under the production department.
All right. So you've mentioned that some LC1s pocket the money that is maybe could have been used for the communal village. So it brings me back to the question of the government pays LC1s 10,000 a month, and communally it's like 120,000 a year. Don't you think that also maybe plays part in that? And what is your view on how the salary that LC1s get, does it speak to the value that they think they add to the whole development of the village, to the systematic?
I think it's simply that the government does not take the position of LC1 very seriously. And I thought that they would, because LC1s have a lot of power because they can mobilize from the grassroots up. And that means they need to be handled very well. So I think that when you look at the services that the LC1 people provide to the village, and the lack of what can I call it? There's a general lack of structuredness at the LC level, where the LC chairperson can do anything
without being held accountable. So they'll ask you, you'll go and say, I want to get a letter, for example, to get my ID or something, or a passport or something. And they tell you, for this ID, you'll pay 50,000. And that money does not go even to the village. It is their money. After that, they'll put it into the pocket. It's not documented anywhere. Then you come and have a land sale, and he'll tell you, I want 10%. So if you sell, for example, land of 120 million, he gets 12 million shillings. Instead of giving it to the village, just goes into their pockets. So there's general lack of accountability at LC1 level, that all the money that is collected by the committee or the LC1 chairperson cannot be accounted for. And the villagers themselves don't even know that the LC1 is getting this money. They don't.
So they cannot even hold them accountable.
But don't you think
so that general lack of accountability is a problem. But also it comes from a place of people who think, that LC1s are useless and therefore they should be paid 10,000. That's crazy. I'm glad that they have increased that money to 120,000 per month. So, but even with that,
have they?
Yeah, they have. It's now 120,000 per month, plus a bicycle. But we are talking about people who bring services and who are supposed to monitor government programs up to the grassroots level.
So, to you, that money should even be more.
It should be. Because these are people who they are the last mile people. You're having an MP who's given 300 million shillings to buy a car for 5 years. You're having an LC1 who is given a bicycle to follow government programs for money. Government programs, and ensure that there's no corruption and that the services get to the last mile. I think that we need to have a reflection as a country to think deeply about how important our LC system is. Other than that, when we keep thinking that they are the least in communities, they don't have value, and that is bad. This is why I want to propose one of my visions for the next 5 years. In my leadership, I want to mobilize and start the National Association of LC1 Chairmen in Uganda.
For the whole country.
For the whole country. With this, we will have one voice to also hold government and put our demands on table as LC1 chairpersons. You see, the mayors have it. The LC5 chairpersons have it, of the entire districts, right? Members of parliament have these associations. The doctors have it. The teachers have it.
The lawyers
and they
have
bring government to their knees when they have demands. The lawyers have it. Why wouldn't we actually mobilize the nation and create the National Association of LC1 Chairmen of Uganda, where we will sit and have an assembly, a general assembly, to elect our leader, Sentebe waba Sentebe bonna mu ggwanga, so that we can lobby using one voice and try to, see how we can better our our delivery of services at the grassroots level, but also hold government and put our demands on table so that we have a decent, decent welfare, or even provide services better. I mean, think about it. If government wants to deliver these services, it's easy. Just call the association, sit and tell them, moving forward, we are training you, we are releasing the parish development model, and this is how you're going to actually follow up the money. If you have all of these people in one room and they have a strong association, then services can be better. They can easily, get those services to the grassroots, and you can monitor them very well. So one of my dreams is really to do that. By the end of the 5 years, I should be able, through consultation with different LC1s of different districts across the country, I want to be remembered for having started that conversation and actually delivering it. So besides serving my people of Bamutakudde, I want to serve the nation. But most importantly, I want to coalesce all of us as LC1 chairpersons across the country to have one voice and be united.
Thank you. So you ran as an independent. Was it deliberate, or you just didn't want to take part in the political party environment?
Yeah. First of all, LC1 is not a job. It's a service. My job is journalism. Journalism requires me to stay independent of my views and my thought process, so that I can be able to speak the truth to the people. So I'm not politically active in terms of saying, I belong to this party or this party, because my job does not require me to take a side. Otherwise, how will I now talk about this and people know, this one is for this party or this one is for this party? But at the core of my interest to come for this LC1 position is to serve my people, to serve my community, to lobby for them, to make sure that they get services. At the center of everything I do and say and all, when all is said and done and the lights are off, are my people better than how I left them? And so if whatever it needs, whether I'm knocking on NRM's doors or NUP's doors or FDC or JEMA, I don't care. Right now, what I care about is providing services for my people. That is really core for me right now. I cannot rule out that I'll not be politically active in the future. But for now, my attention is drawn to the fact that I need to serve my community and improve their welfare and, do a model village that everyone wants to associate with, and watch me do that.
All right. So there's been sort of like a quotacious comment that has been going around that you may want to maybe look at bigger fish, maybe climb the ladders later on. What's your take on that?
I mean, let me be honest. Like right now, as I mentioned, my focus, when you're when you have something, you have a vision and mission, just like organizations have, yes, and objectives and everything. My vision and mission is to create a village that I'm proud of, that is going to be a model village for the rest of the country to watch and testify that when we put right leaders at the local level, we can have impact. We want to create that model and show the world and the country that LCs shouldn't be left to the lower society. That when we saw this guy, go for this elective politics and is now an LC chairperson, he changed his community. Look, when you look at some of the people who have done that and how their community is really transformed, I can give you an example. The late Professor Solomon Serwanjja, former Uganda's prime minister.
Yes.
When he left office, you know what he did? He went and stood for LC1. Yeah, former prime minister. Go and look out for it. You'll be fascinated by how he really helped his community. He lobbied for his community. By the fact that he had contacts in government, he was a former prime minister, respected person in the community, his entire community changed. The former Electoral Commission chairperson, Engineer Badru Chigundu, was an LC1 chairperson. Right? So I believe that this concept, if taken seriously, can be able to help us transform our villages. And you know what? I'm really happy that the nation is having this conversation.
Yes.
You know, that everyone is talking about this conversation of, isn't it important that elites or people who have expertise and experiences in being CEOs? I mean, think about if you got, you know, a CEO of one of these biggest companies going back to his community and serves as an LC1 chairperson. And you'd ask me, but wouldn't he be so busy for the people? He's creating systems. He's not going to be in office LC1 from Monday to Friday because he has to earn, but he can create a system and say, I'm in office on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he'll tell, you know, his company that every Monday from 8 to midday, I'm not going to be there. I have, you know, as CEOs, we structure our days, you know, we structure and schedule our programs. So people know that on Wednesday, you know, the ED is not in office, but I'm in another office serving my community.
So do the people in your village know the days when you will be available
for
them?
They know. Actually, what we did is, I'm happy to inform you that we have gotten a village LC1 office. Before LC1s used to be in people's homes, you know, chairman and the whole office is in people's homes.
If you want the chairman, you go to his home.
Yeah, no, that concept is no longer working. You know, my home is my home. It's for my wife, my kids, and my dogs, and my entire staff who serve me at my home. The village, the LC1 office, we have created an LC1 office where people are going to be served. And we will have the chairperson if we're going to do schedules where, you know, we are in office and when you're expected to come and to receive what service. So we're just going to create a system which works to serve our people better, right? So for me right now, going back to your question, do I look at bigger ambitions or that?
Yes.
To be honest, right now, my attention is on serving my village. If my village is really, you know, doing well and, you know, neighboring villages look at it as a model village, which is my dream, and they think that you've served your people well, we want you to serve us, then I will hear from the people. And I mean, if they ask, you know, it would be a great opportunity to serve and grow it from just the village and start looking at maybe serving the parish or even serving the district as a whole or even serving the nation. So, but for now, right now, my focus is on making Bamutakudde a model village, and we have started.
All right. So you've been an investigative journalist, and you still are, and now that you're in a position where we could say there may be maybe other journalists who may aggressively want to investigate your whole tenure and the whole political environment that you've entered into. What's your take on that? And do you expect some journalists to come aggressively towards that?
Too much is given, much is expected. You know, I've been given this office to serve the people. It's a public office. So I'm happy for journalists to come and explore the good, the bad, and the ugly of my administration or my leadership, because that's what accountability is about. You know, and for me at the village level, what I've done is I have created an extra layer. You know, in many of the villages, LC1s are untouchables. What we have done at Bamutakudde Village is we've created a council of elders. 5 elders, abakadde b'okukyalo. Council of elders is the supreme council, and the LC chairperson and this committee reports to the council of elders.
So they hold you accountable.
They hold you accountable. For example, they will say, look, in your strategic plan, you said you do A, B, C, D, F, G. Q1, you said you do this, but you're not doing it. What's the problem? So we've created a council of elders of 5 eminent elders on the village who we will be reporting to. In organizational management, I think you will call it the board.
Yes.
You know, but this council of elders for us will keep us in check. Should we get things wrong, the villagers can report us to the council of elders. So we're trying to trim this whole power that the LC1 is almighty and all powerful. That actually the council of elders can work with the villagers to actually impeach you out of office if you're not delivering. So I'm under a lot of pressure to deliver for my people, because we put up systems and checks and balances that will not let me rest until what I've promised my people is done. And we've done amazing things. We're opening roads. As I speak right now, we're opening roads. We are building bridges through partnership and lobbying with the Mukono District local government. It's fascinating things. The NIRA is coming to my village to register all people without national IDs. We realize that without national IDs, people cannot benefit from the Myoga program, the PDM, and all government programs. So when I reached out to NIRA, they said, oh, Chair, we are coming. On Friday, they are coming to register my people.
So on that, most LC1s don't have the access that maybe we could say that you have. So what's your take on that? The fact that maybe is it the LC1s that we vote, or is it the fact that they don't even have the access because they are the nearest to the people, but then they are the farthest to service delivery?
Again, like I said, this is why we need people like these in these spaces. You don't have to be a Solomon Serwanjja to be in LC1, but you can also lobby. You can come. Well, that's what I was telling you. So I have all these networks that I will call the president's office and they'll pick up. That I'll call the DPC for Mukono and he'll pick up. And I just say, DPC, my name is Solomon Serwanjja. Like, oh yeah, how can I help? There are doors that I know can they open because of my virtue of being Solomon Serwanjja.
So every person should be able to.
So this is what I'm saying, that when we have those people who are somewhat can move the needle and get things done, whether it's through lobbying or through leading demonstrations or whatever, but get services to the people, then they should do it. They should do it. That's what villagers need services. So even if it requires you to lobby, and even if it requires you to lobby and make calls and call for meetings, you're doing this for your village.
So you don't have to be in a leadership position to lobby for your village. Yes.
Imagine if you worked with, but you see, that's a problem. That because the people who have this power look at these LC1s as drunkards. So because they feel like those people are low in society, they don't even want to come and talk with them, which is terrible. So your village stays like that. Because people are not interested. They just come in the village, they just come home, they sleep, they go back to go to work, and their money, they don't care. They're sleeping in a gated house. But when you have an influential or someone who is in a position of power and influence, you can be able to call them out and say, and they'll get out of those gates and they'll come and contribute. Right, so for me, I'm saying that when we stop taking the LC1 leadership as less
invisible.
The reason why I'm making headlines, everyone is asking, prominent journalists, CEO, PhD candidate.
Why are you going for the lowest?
And that's the question that I've been asked. And I'm saying it's about serving my people. It's about taking the experience and expertise that I've got back to my people. My people are happy. My people are happy. I can show you how things are beginning to change, and everywhere I go, they say, chair, 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 chair. I can show you. These are roads. They opened them. They opened these roads, just when I came to office, I lobbied, and they opened these roads. I'll show you. They are now constructing. They are constructing this dam, this bridge, culverts. All this is happening now as I speak. NIRA is going to come to give these people IDs. I've just been lobbying this afternoon before I came for your meeting. I've gotten support that I have one of the government parastatals was offered to build for me a nursery school in my village, because I told them our kids at the village move for about 5 kilometers to go to school. The village nursery school. Nursery. Imagine finding these little kids with their boo bags walking, and they're alone without their mothers. In fact, I'm going to call for a village meeting and say, they leave these little kids and they walk.
That's so risky though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is why. So I've been lobbying. I just came out of a meeting lobbying to say, can you help us construct for us a 4-classroomed block for nursery, baby class, top class, middle, plus an office space and a toilet. And these people are saying, we are very happy to work with you. So it takes that can get the billionaires in this country to say we don't have roads and bring them together. Also, we don't have access to clean water. And they want to participate in a cause, but they're just looking for someone to tickle them.
Or to knock on their doors. So in short, you're saying that every elite, they don't have to wait to be in a position of power to knock on a door for their own village.
Exactly.
So as we conclude, what message do you have for the different LC1s out there, and then the different people, whether they are elites, whether they are non-elites, in how, because we wait for development to reach at the district level, but then we all stay in a village. So what's your final message to them?
No, first of all, we all come from somewhere. Every morning we come from villages. Think about that for a second. The Nigerians have a proverb, it's an African proverb, that however far a man urinates, the last drop falls at his feet.
At his feet.
So you may zoom, but the last one here.
At your feet.
So we come back to these villages every day. You may come here and work, go to London, go to Johannesburg, wherever. But when all is said and done, you'll go back home. And it's important that you take that village seriously. When they invite you for village meetings, please show up. If you can make a contribution, make it for the interest of the village. Know how the village is. Wake up on Saturday and then greet people. Go to your neighbors and say, hey, Nze Serwanjja, Nze Sulawali. I wanted us to know each other. What is your name? You know, for us to stay in the village, let's go and sit with these elderly people. They want to be listened to, or they want to be talked to. Let's, drop our earrings. You know what guys do? Lately, they get out of their gates, put in their headphones, and they jog. Basically, they're out of touch. They close the village out. They're just running in the village. They are not even greeting the elderly people or the people you find on the way. Basically, you lock yourself out.
Even when you're out.
You put the, earpods and you're putting on music and you're jogging, but you're in a village, for heaven's sake. So let's take our villages seriously. Let's, go for the village meetings, mobilize, you could have a problem, at the village and you're a doctor. Provide those 3 hours, 4 hours on your Saturday to go to a health center too. And tell them, Banange, ni Musao, I have 4 hours on me on Saturday. How can I serve you? And they say, no, you come, Musao, welcome. Hakasengekak, we have outpatients. People who are coming to receive treatment. You're a nurse. Go. You're a teacher. Say, I have 4 hours on Saturday. Go to your, those schools, Islamic, so-and-so Islamic. Obasi is a Church of Uganda schools. And then say, Banange, I am a teacher. I teach at, these prestigious schools, but I have 4 hours on me every Saturday. What can we do? What can you do with my 4 hours? But it comes from you coordinating with your LC1.
Starting from the grassroots.
From the grassroots. You're a journalist. You're into production. Tell them, Bana, inze manyi kuba camera. Can I get young people, abavubuka bokuchalo, to come and I train them how to use a camera? From taking photography and videography, offer those 4 hours of your time to the village and transform your community. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about changing lives one at a time, by taking back what we have learned and benefited all through our years of practice.
And taking it back home.
Taking it back home to improve the lives of our people.
All right. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here. And for everyone watching, development starts from the grassroots. So go back home. I'm Justin Kesafari, and this was the Policy Digest. Find us at all our social media platforms at CEPA Uganda, Home of Parliament Watch Uganda, on TikTok, YouTube, and X.
Thank you for listening to the Policy Digest podcast, the Center for Policy Analysis podcast that is profiling African ideas and people that are shaping the future of their communities. Subscribe to all our platforms on YouTube and Podbean.